My daughter has just died, but come, lay your hands on her and she will live. I'd like to say a few words about martyrs. One martyr that we keep today, and then many martyrs, and then our own call to be martyrs of love, martyrs of love. In 1902, at the beginning of the 20th century, a child was martyred. Maria Goretti is her name. Not yet 12 years old. A young man, Alessandro Serenelli, who often verbally abused her, attempted to rape her. When she resisted, he stabbed her and left her for dead. Discovering later that she was still alive, he returned and stabbed her 5 more times. She died in the hospital, praying for him and forgiving him. She was canonized in 1950 before the biggest crowd to witness a canonization up to that time. Her mother and her murderer were in attendance. That was the beginning of the century that produced more martyrs than all previous centuries combined. Several million Armenian Christians died for their faith. At the founding of the Soviet Union, and for the next 70 years, tens of millions of believers were murdered by the brutal dictatorships of Lenin, Stalin, and their successors in the Kremlin. During the Second World War, millions of Jews and Christians, priests and nuns were systematically exterminated by the Nazis in the death camps at Dachau and Auschwitz and others. In communist China, millions more died for the faith. In Mexico, the anti-Catholic government persecuted millions of Catholics and murdered thousands during the Cristeros Wars. Saint Miguel Pro was photographed moments before his execution by a firing squad. Arms outstretched in a human cross, he witnessed to the faith with his final breath, Viva Cristo Rey. Nothing could equal the suffering, persecution, and murders of the 20th century for the faith, not even the religious wars of the 17th century between Catholics and Protestants in Europe. Regarding Christians, we like to remember the famous saying of Tertullian, "The blood of martyrs is the seed of the church, of the faith." Even today, in the 21st century, persecution of Christians is ongoing in Syria and Iraq and Egypt. Ancient Christian communities are persecuted and martyred, and many thousands more are being driven from their ancestral homes. In Sudan, Nigeria, and the rest of sub-Saharan Africa, many more millions are under threat of persecution, of kidnapping, slavery, and murder. Several lessons we can glean from Maria Goretti for our families and our faith. First, parents do well to be alert for warning signs that their children may be at risk from neighbors and relatives. Maria's mother ignored pleas for protection by her daughter and missed the danger signs. Also, Maria knew her faith and the precious gift her integrity and dignity were to her. These were worth dying for in her eyes. And finally, we can join and support the efforts of the church and of organizations like the Knights of Columbus and Aid to the Church in Need, who spare no effort to protect Christians, especially the vulnerable in the Middle East. Maria Goretti may have died a martyr, but the Lord has taken this little girl by the hand and raised her up, and now she is more alive than ever. Maria Goretti, pray for us.